You're looking at Viridian City, or what's left of it. See that trainer's house? Once it was buzzing with excitement, now it's just a hollow monument. Its windows as dark and vacant as empty eyes. And towering above it, that giant flickering screen. That's Giovanni, his face stern, unyielding, staring down. His voice amplified, distorted, booming across the square. Strength is order. Order is peace. Team Rocket provides. Team Rocket protects. Any deviation will be corrected. That red R of Team Rocket, it's everywhere. It's on banners, it's on armbands of patrolling grunts, even stenciled into the sides of poor weary Pokemon forced to haul cargo. This isn't some nightmare you just wake up from. This is just another Tuesday. And the heroes who once stood against it all, Ash, Misty, Brock, they're just whispers now. Fading legends in a world forgetting how to hope. Or maybe more accurately, a world where hope is more dangerous than contraband. Even the air feels heavy here, thick with pollution and the sickly sweet smell of propaganda dripping from every speaker. Team Rocket ensures prosperity, they blare, cutting into the dull, state-approved music. Only through Team Rocket can your Pokemon be truly safe, truly useful. Useful? Yeah, that's what Pokemon are now. They're tools, assets. If you're a trainer not supporting the black and red, you're limited. 2 Pokemon, that's the law. Just 2. Any more and you're not just a trainer, you're a threat. A hoarder, a potential dissident. And dissidents? Well, they have a nasty habit of disappearing. Just like Ash, like Misty, and like Brock. Pokemon centers, they used to be a beacon of healing. Now, sterile, intimidating places. Manned by grim-faced folk in Team Rocket uniforms, getting your Pokemon treated feels more like an interrogation. Why was your Pokemon injured? Were you in an unauthorized battle? Where's your trainer ID updated this cycle? Pokemarts aren't any better. Supplies are rationed, and prices are sky high for anyone that's not a ranking member. Things like potions and Pokeballs, luxury items. Their distribution, controlled with an iron fist. Forget choosing your own path. All paths are paved by Team Rocket now, and they all lead to their factories, their strongholds, and their so-called re-education centers. History books, they've been revised. The official story paints Giovanni as some kind of visionary, a strong leader who brought order to a chaotic world, previously plagued by reckless, unsupervised trainers in the ineffectual Pokemon League. The league itself, it's gone, disbanded. Gym leaders, either they joined up or their gyms were repurposed, or even more sadly, they vanished. Like so many others, the Indigo Plateau, once the ultimate dream for trainers, is now a forbidden zone. Rumor has it it's Giovanni's central command. The vibrant tapestries of the Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and Sinnoh regions, all rewritten in the stark, brutal language of Team Rocket's New World Order. They claim it's for our protection. They say it's for progress. But every shadowed alleyway, every hushed conversation, and every fearful glance tells a different story. It's about control. Absolute, unyielding control. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Kale. And I remember the laughter in the streets. The sheer thrill of a friendly Pokemon battle. The vibrant colors of a world not yet drained of its joy. I remember the stories of a boy from Pallet Town with a Pikachu who always defied expectations, and his friends, a master of water Pokemon, and even a rock-solid breeder. They were more than just stories. They were a promise of what a trainer could be. Now, Now I walk through these gray streets, the weight of 4 Pokeballs pressing against my leg, a constant cold reminder of my defiance. 2 over the legal limit. It's a small rebellion, sure. But in this world, even the smallest spark can be seen for miles if you're not careful. That propaganda, it's a relentless drone, the soundtrack of our oppression. Loyalty, strength, victory, the rocket way. I try to tune it out, focusing on the cracks in the pavement, the way shadows cling to buildings, just like fear clings to the people. My motivation isn't some grand plan, not yet at least. It's born from a quiet ache, a memory of a stolen Rattata, my first Pokemon, deemed surplus by some passing grunt. It's fueled by the sight of my neighbor, an old woman who used to tell amazing stories of legendary Pokemon, dragged away for spreading misinformation. It's for them. It's for the world we lost. Every day is like walking a tightrope. You've got checkpoints manned by bored, aggressive grunts and their Pokemon. Usually a coughing or a Zubat, sometimes a snarling Houndour, eyeing everyone with suspicion. One wrong word, one nervous twitch could mean a search. And a search, well, that's where I learned to be quick, to be quiet, and just melt into the background. Trust? That's a currency rarer than a Master Ball these days. You learn to read eyes, to catch that subtle shift in someone's voice that might mean sympathy or danger. And truly, it's exhausting. But then I see a child looking up at the propaganda poster of Giovanni, their eyes wide and totally unquestioning. And that exhaustion just turns into this cold, hard knot of resolve deep in my stomach. They deserve to know the truth. They deserve the world Ash and the others fought for. It all started with a crudely drawn Pidgey on the wall. It was a symbol I vaguely remember from the old stories of the Resistance, well, against Team Rocket, back when they were just a criminal group, not the overlords of everything. Underneath it, a single, almost invisible word. Seek. So I did. It led me down the forgotten service tunnels, through abandoned warehouses, into the hushed back room of shops whose owners still held a tiny flicker of the old world in their hearts. This is the rebellion, not an army, at least not yet anyway. It's more like a network of whispers, a fragile web of people connected by the shared desperation of a stubborn refusal to let the flame of freedom be snuffed out completely. Our meetings are secret, always held in darkness, punctuated by a distant wail of rocket patrols. We use coded messages, dead drops, signals only a desperate few would even recognize. The starlies fly at midnight might mean a new batch of leaflets is ready. The Geodude sleeps could be a warning about a compromised safe house. It's a dangerous game of cat and mouse, where the cat has all the claws and pretty much all the eyes. Our acts of resistance are small, almost laughably when you think about the massive power of Team Rocket. We pass out leaflets, simple, handwritten things filled with the truths Team Rocket tries to bury. Remember Ash, remember Misty, remember Brock, remember freedom. Sometimes we manage minor sabotage, a jammed propaganda speaker, a supply shipment mysteriously delayed. Pokemon liberated from the transport cages and released back into the dwindling wild areas. Every single act is a risk, a terrible, life-altering risk. Informants are everywhere, promise rewards, or maybe even leniency for turning into rebels. The fear of betrayal is a constant companion, as chilling as the wind that whips through the desolate city landscape. But then you see the briefest flicker of understanding in someone's eyes when they find a leaflet. A tiny, almost imperceptible nod. And you know you're not entirely alone. That tiny spark passed from one hand to another keeps the darkness from becoming absolute. Then came the news about Jessie and James. It shot through the rebellion like a shock wave, a jolt of both terror and strange, twisted kind of inspiration. For years, those two, along with their talking meowth, were the face of Team Rocket's bumbling, yet somehow persistent efforts to snag Ash's Pikachu. They were clowns, sure, but they were our clowns in a weird way. A familiar, almost comforting part of the old world's chaos. The propaganda blast went into overdrive. Former operatives, Jessie and James, apprehended. After years of loyal service, these individuals foolishly turned against the very organization that gave them purpose. Now attempting to sow discord within the rebel traitors, they have been swiftly brought to justice. Their trial was a major spectacle, blasted on every major screen. Giovanni himself presided, his voice dripping with contempt. He talked about their betrayal, not just of Team Rocket, but of the stable society he claimed he built. He painted them as confused, misguided fools, easily swayed by the romantic but ultimately destructive ideals of the so-called rebellion. They looked different, older, tired. Their usual flamboyant defiance, gone. Replaced by this grim resignation, there were whispers, though nothing confirmed, that they hadn't just been caught, that they defected, tried to join the rebellion, bringing inside knowledge, maybe even a change of heart after seeing the true extent of Giovanni's tyranny. For the rebellion, their capture was a heavy blow. If even former Rockets, people who knew the organization from inside, couldn't escape, what chance did we have? It was a stark warning. Weirdly enough, it also fanned the flames. If Jessie and James of all people could see the darkness in Team Rocket's New World Order and chose to fight against it, then our cause had to be just. Their capture became a rallying cry, a symbol of the regime's cruelty and a desperate need to resist. Their faces, once sources of exasperated amusement, became icons of sacrifice. It hardened our resolve. We wouldn't let their stand, however brief or ill-fated, be for nothing. We had to prove that even in this suffocating darkness, the choice to fight back mattered. Even the weight of Team Rocket's uniforms, once symbol of their misguided loyalty, had been replaced by a heavier weight of their newfound and quickly extinguished rebellion. And what about the true legends? Ash Ketchum, the boy who never gave up, whose bond with his Pikachu was legendary. Misty, the fiery mermaid of Cerulean City, whose compassion for water Pokemon ran as deep as the oceans. Brock, the steady, wise breeder from Pewter City, the very bedrock of their adventures. Gone, vanished, wiped from the present as effectively as Team Rocket was trying to wipe them from history. Team Rocket's official line was dismissive, full of contempt. These so-called heroes, one broadcast sneered, showing grainy, out-of-context images of Ash in the moment of defeat, or Misty looking frustrated. These were symbols of an outdated, chaotic era. The reckless pursuit of personal glory endangered countless Pokemon and destabilized entire regions. The order Team Rocket has established is a direct antidote to their brand of irresponsible individualism. They were branded dangerous elements, relics of a past that needed to be forgotten for the greater good. Kids were taught that these names were cautionary tales, not inspirations. But the rebellion remembered. We clung to their stories, passed down in hushed tones like sacred text. Every time a Pidgeot soared overhead, someone would whisper, "Ash had a Pidgeot like that." Every time we saw a determined Staryu in a controlled city fountain, someone would murmur, Misty would have loved that spirit. Their Pokemon, Charizard's fiery defiance, Gyarados' untamed power, and Onix's unshakable strength, became symbols of what we were fighting for. The freedom for Pokemon to be themselves, for trainers to forge true bonds. I have my own faded memory, a story my grandfather used to tell. He said he saw Ash once, years ago, at a small tournament in some nameless town. He said the boy radiated of energy, a belief in his Pokemon that was almost tangible. He said when Pikachu battled, it wasn't just about power, it was all about heart. That story, that image, is a small precious ember I guarded fiercely. The hope that Ash, Misty, and Brock weren't truly gone forever was a fragile thing, easily crushed. But it was also stubborn. Rumors would also surface sometimes. A sighting in the remote part of Johto, a coded message supposedly from one of them, a network of old gym leaders working in secret to find them. Most were probably false, but born of desperation. But with every rumor, that ember would grow a little brighter. If they would just return, maybe, just maybe, this endless night could finally break. Their absence was a wound, and their potential return, a prayer. The air in the hidden cellar was thick with anticipation, smelling of a damp earth. Faces lit by a single flickering battery-powered lantern were etched with mix of fear and grim determination. Tonight was different. For weeks we planned, gathered scraps of intel, debated the risk. Tonight, we weren't just handing out leaflets or freeing a few Pokemon. Tonight we were aiming higher. Our target was the old radio tower in Lavender Town. It had been repurposed into a major propaganda relay station, broadcasting Giovanni's filtered version of reality across half a Kanto. Our goal? To hijack the signal, even for a few precious minutes, and broadcast a message of truth, a call to remember, a spark of defiance. I was tasked with the critical part of the plan, disabling the localized jamming field that prevented unauthorized broadcast. It meant navigating the decaying, Zubat-infested service tunnels beneath Lavender Town, a place most people avoided even before Team Rocket's reign, and reaching a specific junction box. My partner for this was Anya, a quiet, weary girl who knew electronics like the back of her hand. Her agility in those tight confines was incredible. She clutched a modified Porygon, its digital form flickering nervously on her handheld device, ready to interface with Team Rocket's systems. My own team could feel the tension. My loyal Growlithe, his nose twitching, sensing the danger. My resourceful Sandshrew, his claws ready to dig if we needed it. And the two illegal additions I always carried, a nervous Abra for quick teleports if things went totally south, and a resolute Machop, his fists clenched. The risks were astronomical. The radio tower was heavily guarded, not just by grunts, but by elite Rocket operatives. Failure meant more than capture. It meant a brutal crackdown on any suspected rebel sympathizers in the region. It meant snuffing out one of our already dwindling numbers of rebel cells. But the potential reward? To reach thousands, perhaps tens of thousands, with a message not crafted by Team Rocket. It was a glimmer too bright to ignore. We moved out in small, staggering groups, melting into the pre-dawn gloom. Each of us carried the weight of our comrades, the hope of the oppressed, and the ghost of the fallen heroes we aimed to honor. The silence of the city was an oppressive blanket, broken by only the distant hum of Rocket's machinery and the thumping of our own hearts. The tunnels beneath Lavender Town were a maze of crumbling brick and dripping pipes. The air was cold, and the only sounds were our own muffled footsteps and the skittering of unseen things. Growlithe, usually a beacon of warmth, pressed close, a low growl rumbling in his chest. Anya moved with a silent grace, her eyes scanning every shadow. We reached the junction box, a rusted metal panel pulsing with a faint, malevolent red light. "This is it," she whispered, her Porygon materializing beside her, its form glitching slightly in the oppressive atmosphere. Just as Porygon began to work, a sudden clang echoed further down the tunnel. We froze. Footsteps. Heavy. Uniform. Two rocket grunts, their flashlights cutting through the darkness around every corner. "Hey, what's going on here?" one of them barked, his hand reaching out for a Pokeball. There was no time for stealth. "Machop, go! Low kick!" I yelled. Machop sprang forward, surprisingly fast, and swept the grunt's legs out from underneath him. The second grunt released a Rattata, its eyes gleaming red. "Growlithe! Ember!" My faithful Pokemon unleashed a plume of fire, forcing the Rattata back. The fight was quick, brutal, and clumsy in that confined space. We weren't seasoned battlers against human opponents, but desperation lent us strength. We subdued the grunts, binding them with zip ties Anya somehow produced. Their Pokemon were recalled. But the commotion, it wouldn't go unnoticed for long. "Porygon's almost through," Anya hissed, her face pale with the dim light. The jamming field is fluctuating. Suddenly, a new voice, cold and sharp, cut through the air. Well, well, what do we have here? Little rats in the wiring? Standing at the tunnel of the entrance was a figure that made my blood run cold. An officer, judging by the insignia. But not just any officer. This was Commander Petrel, one of Giovanni's most ruthless enforcers. His face was a mask of cruel amusement, a wheezing floating menacingly by his side, leaking toxic fumes. You children really thought you could disrupt Team Rocket's operations. This was a confrontation we hadn't anticipated, a level of opposition that may be way beyond our capabilities. My Abra quivered, sensing my fear. A direct fight was suicide. "Anya now!" I shouted. "Get the signal through. Abra, teleport us as far away from here as you can." Petrel sneered. "Running away? How predictable." His wheezing unleashed a sludge bomb, aimed not at us, but at the junction box. Anya screamed as sparks flew. Porygon dematerializing with a painful shriek. The jamming field stabilized, stronger than before. The mission, our part of it at least, was a failure. In the disorienting flash of Abra's teleport, the last thing I saw was Petrel's mocking smile. We had escaped, but at what cost? That glimmer of hope had been savagely extinguished. We reappeared in a desolate, ruined part of the city, miles from Lavender Town. Coughing from the residual teleportation energy and the bitter taste of defeat, Anya was slumped against the crumbling wall, tears silently tracing paths along the grime on her face. "I failed," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "Porygon, the signal." Put a hand on her shoulder, my own heart heavy. "We all knew the risk, Anya. We got out. That's something at least." But it felt like such a hollow victory. I thought about the main team at the radio tower. What could have happened to them? News, when it finally trickled through our fractured rebellion network days later, was grim. The assault on the tower had been a disaster. Heavy losses, many captured. The mood in our small, scattered cell was somber. The failure at Lavender Town was a huge blow. A harsh reminder of Team Rocket's overwhelming power and ruthlessness. For a while, despair threatened to just swallow us whole. What's the point? How can we possibly win against an enemy like this? The propaganda machines worked overtime, broadcasting images of the defeated terrorist and warnings of consequences of any more rebellion. Giovanni's face seemed to be everywhere, his smug pronouncements of order restored, a constant, infuriating goad. Then something unexpected happened. A new piece of graffiti appeared in a secluded alleyway, not far from our compromised meeting spots. It wasn't the usual Pidgey symbol. This was different. A simple stylized drawing of a lightning bolt, instantly recognizable. Pikachu's tail? Beneath it, 3 crudely etched letters, A, M, B. Does that mean Ash, Misty, Brock? It could have been a prank, a cruel hoax by Team Rocket to draw out any remaining rebels. But there was something about it, an audacity, a precision that didn't feel like some grunt's sloppy work. A few days later, a coded message found its way to us. It was embedded with a static of a supposedly jammed frequency, a frequency only old, modified radios could pick up. The message was short, almost poetic. The storm gathers. The tides are turning. The rock stands firm. Seek the old fisherman by the silent sea. The silent sea? It could only mean the dried up Lake of Rage in Johto. Another region under Team Rocket's thumb. An old fisherman? Could it be a contact? Or more? It was a sliver, the thinnest shard of light in overwhelming darkness. But it was enough. The despair didn't just vanish, but it receded, pushed back by this fragile yet fierce resurgence of hope. The legends? What if they weren't just lost? What if they were just hiding, waiting, planning? The thought sent a jolt of energy through our weary ranks. The failure at Lavender Town still stung, a bitter lesson learned. But the fight wasn't over. Just perhaps it was only just the beginning. The image of that lightning bolt, defiant and bright, burned in my mind. The unbreakable spirit of resistance, it seemed, was harder to extinguish than even Team Rocket imagined. The shadow of Team Rocket still looms large over Kanto, Johto, and beyond. Their grip is tight, their propaganda relentless. The loss at Lavender Town was a painful setback, a stark reminder of the power we're up against. But that small, electrifying message, that symbol of Pikachu's tail, it changed something. It breathed new life into embers of the rebellion. The fight for freedom, for the memory of Ash, Misty, Brock, Jessie and James, for a world where Pokemon are partners, not tools. It goes on. The journey to the Silent Sea will be perilous, absolutely fraught with danger. Team Rocket's eyes are everywhere, but now we just don't carry the weight of our fallen comrades and the hopes of the oppressed. We carry a new, electrifying possibility. The possibility that we are not alone. The heroes that we thought were gone forever might just be waiting for the right moment to return, to help us turn the tide. The fight continues, no longer just a desperate struggle for survival, but a determined march towards a dawn that we now dare to believe that might actually come. The world may have forgotten its heroes, but we haven't, and we will fight until they can return to a world worthy. So what did you think of Kale's journey so far? Don't forget to like this video if you want to see what happens next. Subscribe if you want some more theories, mysteries, or even just to hear more stories like this from Reimagined Worlds. Also hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of when we come out with a video. What other Pokemon mysteries, what ifs, and forgotten legends would you like to explore? Let us know in the comments. And remember, until next time, stay strong, be rebellious, be defiant. Hope is always there.